Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the podcast of To The Point, where we will be discussing a variety of things. But first and foremost, I am Queen Dee, the co-host, and welcome aboard the host, Mr.
And I am your favorite host, King J. How y'all doing tonight? We have, like she said, a hot show lined up for you guys. We have a special guest, so let's jump right to the point.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those who do not know, we've been broadcasting this specific episode 2 of To The Point, and we will be covering a few things here today, but surrounding the point of trauma, accountability, and truth. And we'll be discussing it with Dearest Price. So, welcome, Dearest Price, to the platform. How are you today?
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we caught you at a very good time, it sounds like. So you were doing some traveling today, huh?
Yeah, I just got off a flight from New York and I'm here now in Charlotte, um, South Carolina, which is
Nice.
Eastern Standard Time. So I have to keep up with you all because you guys are all over the place.
Okay,
And
Absolutely.
yes, yes, so I finally got planted and I was really excited about doing this.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you, and thank you for taking your time and getting to where you needed to be so we can make this all possible, right, Jay?
that's right. Like I said, I'm excited to be able to connect with the Queen. I mean, and she had so much to say. So I want to jump. Like I said, let's jump right to it. I mean, the people have been waiting. People are excited already. I mean, they already pumped. I mean, so let's just get to the point. Let's get to it, raw and uncut, D.
That's right. That's right. So, dearest Price, what we're going to do today, let's kind of let the viewers know who you are, okay? And again, we're going to cover these topics. We're going to get to some hot points. We're going to get to some trauma facts, and you're going to start that off for us. So let's hear it.
Okay. Well, thank you again for having me. As I said, I humbly do this podcast because I don't do many, but this podcast in particular was very compelling to do because of how I watched you guys for a while and how you do tackle topics that most don't. So I do graciously appreciate that. Um, my name is Dearest Price by birth. That is my name. I am a former educator. I have an MED, which is a master's in education. I also have some administrative with education background, and I am now going for my doctorate degree. But I don't say that to brag. None of that matters because I have been a victim of domestic violence. I have been homeless. I have been in poverty, impoverished. I have been that person who got an EBT card. I've been that person um, who's faced challenges regardless of my educational background. And that's why I bring that part up first because trauma is not exclusive to any race, creed, any person, any gender. Trauma can happen to any person. So I come before you today to let's dig deep into this whole thing of trauma because that's what's ultimately breaking down our communities. That's what's ultimately the gun violence in our streets. It's because of trauma. That's what's ultimately destroying our families and our households, trauma. That's what's ultimately rising our incarceration rates, trauma. So let's dig deep. I'm an open book and I would love to answer questions about trauma and how it not only relates to me, but everybody out there.
That's right. That's right. And I think we all face a little bit of that, having to do with upbringing and things of that nature. Some of the things that were bestowed upon us at an adolescent age, we kind of carry that along into relationships and other ships that we have throughout our walks of life. So this is actually a great topic, just going over a ton of things. And I understand that there is, some facts that we plan to throw out there here soon, but we're going to kind of slow it down. We don't want to give all the juice right now. in regards to in regards to trauma, I know that there's a specific things that happen. What would you say triggers the most, and how early on could that possibly happen in regards to trauma, and the difference is regular, just trauma, and how it affects people individually. So what would you say about that? What are the
Trauma,
kind of
sta-
these points?
trauma can start in the womb. Trauma can
Yes.
start in the womb. Trauma can start genealogically with our pathology in our family. Trauma can start with generational curses before you were even born. Trauma
Right.
can start with what your parents did, what your grandparents did, what your great grandparents did. Trauma has infiltrated our community through the bondage of slavery. Trauma has persecuted us through Jim Crow. Trauma has
Mm,
affected us through when we had to fight civil rights and for the Panthers who are out there. Trauma has affected us even now. Trauma has affected us with Reaganomics, with the crack epidemic.
mm.
Trauma, as I said, trauma doesn't have a timeline. Trauma doesn't have a certain formula to it. Trauma is not exclusive, as I said, to one individual or certain individuals. Trauma comes based on the pathology, based on the historical relevance, based on what impact your past has on your future.
Understandable.
Good answer.
Right,
Okay.
right. Jay, you have anything to
Yeah.
add to that?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna jump right in. Definitely to jump right in. And one thing, from the time that I've had the pleasure to speak with you, I did touch bases on one thing that you made clear to me and was fulfilling for me. Is that that's something that can be overcome. Came some We can always get over the. So I want to touch more bases on not where we've been, not what we've been through, not where we at, but the overall, how would you say you've overcame some of those situations, some of those hurdles to now?
Mm.
But with that viewer out there that's dealing with this pain, that's going through this, through that day-to-day life, what would you say to someone that have overcame these things and able to just get to the next chapter?
Trauma is a reflection of who you actually are.
Mm,
You attract who you are. You attract your inadequacies.
Yeah,
You attract your deficiencies. Therefore, the only thing to beat trauma is accountability. The only thing to beat trauma is to look yourself in the mirror, because no one on this planet, as I said, can put you through something that you don't allow them to put you through.
that's
And
right.
that's in every single situation. So you say, how do we tackle trauma? How do we, in all facets, just being general, as I said, look at what you're attracting, look at your circle, look at who you deal with from day to day, look at who you have pouring into your spirit. Look at those people that you allow into your office, into your home, into your personal space, because they are actually impacting the person who you are, and you are mirroring the people that you bring in.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I
Okay,
get
I like that.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you, dearest Price. Now, understanding that you have gone through some trauma. Now, was this involving a relationship, or are there things that? And I know that you write as well, and I know that when you write, because I'm a writer as well, you kind of translate back to or reflect on things that occurred during the adolescent ages. Now, what would bring you to the point, and this is speaking from someone who has not gotten to the place that you are now, and the vessel and the instrument that you are projecting all of this knowledge back onto our communities. What would you say would be the turning point that caused you to, one, evaluate where you are, assess the situation and say, hey, this is my trauma, this is my truth, and this is me being accountable. Where did all that heart and that knowledge come from to bring you to the point to just go ahead and let it out? What brought you there?
Knowledge of self,
There you go.
knowledge of self, consciousness.
There
As
you
I said, I'm a Christian, I'm a minister by trade, but it was not until I pulled back the layers of I am,
go.
of who I am is, of who, of biblically, what does that mean? Consciously, what does that mean? Based on African proverbs, what does that mean? Based on Aristotle, what does that mean? Based on philosophy, what does that mean? Based on um, chemics, what does that mean? I had to pull back the layers of myself and really understand my true identity here on this planet. I had to have a little self worth. It
Hmm.
starts with it starts with digging within. And for me, I hadn't done that before. I was one of those people who I like to blame people. As I said, it couldn't possibly be me. As I said, I had degrees, I had education, I'm a nice person, I'm a good person. So why would I blame myself? But then looking back, I didn't understand the power of our human anatomy. I didn't understand that we're able to manifest things in the earth. I didn't understand that we create. We're creators by nature.
That's
And
right.
I was actually creating my destiny. I was choosing people unconsciously that would bring wrath to me. I was unconsciously doing things that caused a dynamic of pain and trauma. So until I found who I was as a person, um, I could never break through before that. So it totally, as I said, if somebody really wants to pull back the layers of what's going on in their life and why they're constantly going through things, start pulling back your own layers.
Hmm.
Start pulling back. Look within. Look how you treat people. Look how you
Mhm.
speak to people. Look how
That's right.
you deal with people on a day-to-day basis. Are you an enabler? Let me tell you something. Nice people have trauma too. Good
That's
people have
I
trauma
agree.
too. And it's not because you're being punished, and it's not because you're weak, it's not because of any of that, but it's what you're putting out in the universe.
right. Right. I
I
got
agree. It definitely, like you said, go to self, self, self. But what thing we're gonna do? We're gonna take a break right now, real fast, and come right back to our point on self, self love. As you said, she said, it goes to self love. It's not about them, what they did to you, what you've been through, what you're going through, but it's about self, what self can do, how far self can go, how many times self can get hit and get back up and do it all over again. Now we're gonna come back with that same topic about self love, but we're gonna pay some bills right now. And y'all just heard from our sponsor, K&A Enterprise. All the information is definitely in the bayou. Definitely check out K&A Enterprise and definitely hit us up directly on our To The Point email and find out how your business can get an ad right here on To The Point on our platforms with over hundreds of people touching all of our platforms. And we're going to get right back to Miss Deariest Price. Miss Deariest Price, we left off with self-love. We left off with, you know, how many of us, have trauma, how many of us go through these phases, and there's so many different types of trauma, but it goes back, like you said, that self love. If you overcame your obstacles by just getting that self love and gaining and retaining that, focusing on that self love, self. From then through the eras, through the trial and errors of trauma. But to be where you're at today, to be able to say that, hey, my self love was my breakthrough. What are the amazing things that you are doing today?
Right now, it's pretty awesome. Right now, I'm traveling throughout the nation, actually promoting this message of love, promoting this message of what we call eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is a state of happiness. Eudaimonia is a place, it's the opposite of trauma. It's living in a state of bliss. We were not created to be constantly in pain. We're not pathological pain seekers. We should not live in a state of constant trauma. We understand there's trials and tribulations, but for the most part, the majority of our lives should be filled with happiness and peace.
Yeah.
And when I talk about trauma along the lines of self love, when I talk about defeating trauma on the lines of self love, please understand self love has nothing to do with you buying a new car. Self love is not about the outfit you wearing this week. Self love has nothing to do with how much money you got in the bank. Because let me tell you something, when it's all said and done, you can't take that with
That's
you.
right.
And love continues throughout time. So, what's the great, amazing things that I'm doing? I got a book coming out. This is my third release. The name of this book is Fearless, and that's probably the most exciting thing that I'm doing right now. I believe this book is fire. I believe this book is life changing. I believe that it can relate to anyone going through trauma right now. I believe that it could set the captives free. So that's
Set
probably
the
on the
captives
top of
free. Is
my
that the
list.
word you said? Set the
That's
captives
what I
free.
said. Set the
Set the
captives free.
captives free. That's one of them old words. Where you say you from, Miss Price again?
I'm actually from New York originally. I'm
New
from
York. Is
Long
that? I took it.
Island.
That's got to be a Mississippi. It's some down where in the country, Alabama picked up to say.
No, but my parents are from the South. There you go.
Okay, okay, okay. So it just kind of trickled down. I like that. Say that again. Say it again.
Set the captives free. That's what
Set
we
the
all supposed
captives
to do.
free.
That's right. That's what we all are here for. That's our purpose, actually. But we're not going to talk about purpose. We're going to talk about dealing with the internal stuff right now because as soon as we can free ourselves and free our minds, because who the sun sets free is truly free indeed. As soon as we can do that, as I said, you will see in the earth, the things that manifest in the earth will be dynamic. As I said, all the stuff going on with the Supreme Court, all the stuff going on with gun violence, all the stuff going on in the
Mhm.
household, all the stuff going on with domestic violence. And I'm going to give you a quick statistic before I forget. Right now, every 2 minutes, someone is abused. Every 2 minutes. Every time you go to a commercial break, someone's being abused. And where's this violence coming from? This violence is coming from trauma.
That's
So
right.
this
It looks like we lost Miss Price, but hopefully she'll come right back with us. There she is.
Yes, I apologize for that. This trauma has nothing to do with um, a, where we're birthed from. A lot of this trauma we got to take accountability for. As I
Mhm.
said, and I segue because part of my former life, as I said, I was a historical researcher in a former life. And part of one thing that I know for certain is that we follow what the ancestors did. We follow that pathology very clearly. And if we don't break those chains and if we don't identify who we are, it will continue.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
you know so at this point, as I said, it's time to sell books. It's time to bring economic freedom to a lot of us because there's financial trauma as well. We don't talk about it often, but the state of poverty right now, that's traumatic. And as I said, as long as our finances are suffering, that's the new slavery right now, is debt. As I said, people say, "Oh, slavery is over." Slavery's been no. We're in a bigger bondage right now economically than we've ever been in the history of time, even during slavery, because the slaves were not in debt. They were not indebted to anybody. Once they were free, they did not have no credit cards. They did not have no overdraft fees. They didn't have none of that. Unlike us, we go to our grave, some of us with $500,000 worth of debt, owing money, passing it on to our children. Trauma,
I agree.
trauma.
And as y'all guys said, and she the touch bases on, she do have a book that's coming out. That book is definitely going to be available. And one point that she's saying is that we have to educate ourselves, and not only that, educate ourselves, but put the education out there to where we're able to educate ourselves, and just to overcome. all of those obstacles. You know, as she said, there's different types of trauma. There are different stages of trauma. We've all experienced trauma, but this is someone that have been through that, and then this is that clear view that you can say that, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. And we have to keep educating one another. We have to keep teaching one another. We have to keep building within one another. And the more that we're able to teach each other, the more that we're able to reach out, each one bleach one, each one teach one. And we are able to keep growing, and we're able to, like she said, break that barrier and put that information out there to our kids. Teach them the truth. Let them get the truth. And then that's exactly how we get into the point that the trauma is going to come. The trauma is within birth, as Miss Price said, but we have to still get them to the truth, educate them, give them the truth, and then as we work on ourselves, we work on one another. I mean, Miss Price, I'm overwhelmed with what you said. And it seems that you have so much to say, so much to say. How do our people get more from you? How do they get any information? Is there any platform that you may be able to give to them now to where they can follow you and get more of you?
Well, first thing, www.dearestprice.com is where you can find my links. You can find the pace of the release of the book. That is where probably the best way to reach me. Also, this awesome collaboration that we have started with you all. We're going to be doing some things together. As I said, I'm not going to, I believe there's a yoke right here, and we're going to keep this connected in order to build one another up. I'm a big believer in reciprocity. So they're going to be able to find me through you all. They also can find me through my church, which is Agape Voice Ministries, and that's www.agapevoiceministries.com. So those are probably the three strongest places they can find me for speaking engagements, as well as book signings once this release is done, as well as hopefully you'll invite me again on your podcast.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And like I said to you before, before we got on the show and we were just doing this little run through, um, if you feel, I do not think that we would be able to get squeeze out all that knowledge from you in just 45 minutes. So we definitely want to make sure even we'll do a part two. So
Hey, thank you.
that's in your time, of course, but we definitely want to
Mhm.
get as much information as we can.
Thank
But
you.
for the most part, I do want to know because every writer has that thing. And from the book Fearless, what would be your the highlight point of a book? Is there a specific line or a specific paragraph that resonates with you so well that you care to share?
Well, most people don't know what it means to be fearless. Fearless is not without fear. Fear is a human nature. We can't avoid sometimes being afraid. You understand? A lot of people think, "Oh, I'm fearless." There is no fear. The only person or the only entity that has no fear, of course, is God. So we will face fear sometimes, and but to have less fear, to
Mhm.
have less fear than most, to be able, and I believe that the biggest premise of the book, everything you do, encourage, because synonymous with fearless is courage. And everything you do in courage, you begin it with love and you end it with love. It's love is a brave thing. Love is a
Yes.
bold thing. Love, it entails forgiveness. Love entails accountability. Love entails everything that is fearless about you. So
That's right.
every act, every relationship that you go, I see a lot of posts made by your organization about relationships, and I love it. I love it. Even if it's a little, some is a little raw for me. I love to read it, and I love some of the conversation
Like
that
that's
is
their
brought
raw
on
and
about
uncut.
relationships. And what I would say is, I don't care how bad that breakup was. I don't care how much trauma came from that relationship. You always started with love and you always ended with love. If you follow those principles of love and love, Alpha and Omega, beginning and end, if you do that, as I said, you can heal from any situation, because part of the healing
That's right.
process has to come through love.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
right.
Well,
I really, I like the ending with love, started with love part. I like that part. They said, "What come from the heart, touch the heart." So, seems like a very, 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 very interesting book, Miss D. I know you over there off your seats about this.
I am. I am. I am. I am, but I'm going to have to pace myself with that book and put myself on a timer because once I get up under those covers, I have a hard time getting out. I have a hard time getting out. But for the most part, I love the fact of having the skill to translate what you can't always see, but you transfer all that knowledge onto paper, and it's a specific way that that person articulates and conveys that information over to a reader. But it sounds like you are completely mindful as to how you get this stuff down, and I cannot wait to read it. I
Oh, thank
cannot.
you. Graciously, humbly, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm glad to have you. But y'all know that sound like she got that whip game on that pad. So y'all definitely get with her. But right now we're gonna hear from one of our Plus TV commercial right now, and y'all just hold on. We'll be right back. Stay in your seat and prop up your feet. We'll be back with To The Point and Uncut.
Let's see.
We are waiting.
And she's
We
on
gotta
it.
pay the bills. We gotta pay the bills.
She's coming.
They always talking this, but all they talk is cap. So I'ma tell these motherfuckers, run tell that. SS, J nigga, yeah, Jay, you better bang on. I'ma stay out the way just to stack up. Them haters gon' hate, tell them back up. I never fell off, I just fell back. You wanna tell something, run tell that. Run tell that, run tell that. You wanna tell something, run tell that. Run tell that, run tell that. You wanna tell something, run tell that.
There we go.
Yeah, I like that right there. Y'all, the break had me kind of moving over here. Y'all didn't feel that? Hey, that's a hot show on this platform, y'all. Right now, I definitely want to give a shout out to Plus TV Network. Without them, there wouldn't be no To The Point on the level that we're able to come to you guys. You can catch us on all platforms at the bottom of your screen. All of the information, all of the links where you can catch the show is definitely in the bio. We are tuned in right now on some self love, on some, domestic violence, and just the hurt, the pain, and just how we overcome those things with Miss Deariest Price and my favorite co-host Queen Dee. We all tuned in and just welcome back, 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 back.
That's it. I'm looking through the comments to see if we have some comments there. And I don't see any right now. So I'm thinking, Jay, we gotta wake these people up. Something going on.
Hey, they just have to tune in. They just gonna have to tune
Yep,
in.
yep,
Next week.
something going on.
Next week, I was thinking next week, D. I said, you know what? We might as well talk about it now. Next week I thought about it, Miss Price. We all here together. I said we gonna talk about what people want, what the human body want, what do the man want, what do the woman want, what do the
Good.
human body want, what it is you want to wake up to, what kind of feeling you want in the morning time, how you want to feel when you finish that hard day of work. So we want to talk about what the people want. We're going to touch bases on that. That's one thing that I'm really, really working on to get together for us next week. Just what do the people want? Whether it's what the people want to see, what you want to see, what you want to hear, we wouldn't just get to the point, D. I mean, I kind of like that, D. How you like that? How that feel to you?
As of now, I think we're cool. I think we're cool. I think that's going to be a good one. It's going to be a nice one. But you know how we are so human and we are so in the flesh. It's ridiculous. That we want what feels good to the body. We want to hear those silly truths, gray area lies that make us a little peaceful, which induces trauma, which is not healthy, and processing truth. And one of the things that I was scrolling through our page earlier today, and it's a member in our group, and his name is Aaron Tyler, and he posted something that really kind of hit for me, and I was like, oh well, I want to go into it, but not too deep, but I do want to let him know that I get it.
Okay.
And it was primarily about healing and hiding. and that there's a difference. There's a massive difference between actually healing and hiding. We've been survivors all of our lives through all sorts of aspects of, trials and tribulations and trauma and all of these things. And there was a question on there. It's like, well, what's the difference? There's a huge difference, because as you go through these things and you recognize what the issue is, it's like you standing in the mirror like, hey, what's going on here? And consciously, we're aware of all of the issues that we have. We're aware. It's just getting to the point and taking care of it. And so when you're able to actually heal, you'll know when someone healed or not. When you're able to say, hey, this was me and this was my part in it. And being able to heal from that and move on in a way to where you don't pass that on to another relationship. Because if we're not healing, then we're hiding or we're masking that pain. And then when it comes to other relationships, you start to see little patterns or little things that it could not be that. But based on the fact that you have not healed and you're hiding those things, it'll always come up. It'll always resurface. So when we're talking about healing, we're talking about, hey, I know Jay said last show, I can't believe it's been a whole week already, but the last episode was, it's okay to his word was dump. And it's pretty much the same thing, but you can release the pain, the hurt, the anger onto a partner that you look to have longevity relationship with. But it's gradually, it's to an extent, but primarily it's to build a foundation. This is me, see who I am type deal. And if you can do that honestly, authentically, and have that person receive you in a way to where how you move and you behave, then that's great. That's a part of the whole healing thing. But healing isn't fun, and healing isn't pretty, and making change requires that you do something. So that's why a lot of us don't get to that place. But it's very, very important to understand the meaning of being healed or in the healing process or masking pain. Because when you mask it, it will always show up. The smallest trigger will set you off. And it could turn a very authentic relationship into something completely different. So I think we should kind of, reflect as a people, as a community, understand what our triggers are and how do we move forward with healing and not hiding. Because we go through a lot of stuff that we mask and we get through. But healthy, no, I wouldn't say it's completely healthy to do that, to carry on in that way. It's self-damaging, if you
I
ask me.
agree. I
But
agree.
I think that that's a big thing for us to, emphasize on when it comes to healing. It's a refreshing thing at the end, but you definitely got to get the meaning of that. So I definitely thank him for sharing that piece of information, and it was kind of like an eye opener for me. So I hope it was for other people in the group as well.
Yeah, it was because I kind of got out of my seat when you said that, and touching back on that, a lot of times we dwell more on, you know, what's better or how do we, we fix ourselves. I don't think that's being healed. I'm glad we got Miss Price here. Though. I don't feel that that's a person that's being healed. That's a person that have overcame, or that same person may say to the next person, you need to heal, or because they find these, I'm not going to say coach, but you find the things that say trigger you. Sometimes healing, that the major healing process is those things that don't trigger you no more, because see, the same things that when you may want your partner not to, barriers that you don't want them to hurt, that you don't want them to cross, it's same barriers that triggers you because you're not healed.
Mhm.
Mm.
You have to get to where it's coded all the way around the board, to where the things that used to trigger you don't trigger you anymore. You've
Mhm.
learned, Pete. You found Pete. Go. I'm gonna let you kind of. You feel me, Miss? Are we barking up the same tree?
I think
We
that,
definitely are.
yeah,
We
you got, this
definitely
is
are.
so awesome. This is so awesome because no, it plays into everything because this is foundation what you're teaching.
Mhm.
this is basic what you're teaching. People think that, the desires of the flesh is higher order. This is the lowest order right here. If we don't clear up some of these problems right here,
Right.
please, we can't even talk about trauma
Right.
until we can clear this is the ABCs in the equation of trauma.
That's right. That's right. So it's just like, building a brick house on sand. The structure may be strong, but the
Yeah.
foundation will not hold. So you are absolutely right. And
Hmm.
I can tell you, I didn't build some real strong on some shaky foundations. I definitely know what that means. It definitely know.
I just wanna add to both of your excuse me, comments, because one thing that most people do not realize is the desires of the flesh. The reason why we have so much trauma based on the desires of the flesh is because we do so many things out of order. If you think about biblical principles, as I said before God even gave Adam a woman, before a woman even came into the equation, God gave him a job. God gave him a place to live. God gave him everything, all the foundation that he needed before he even thought about a woman. Do
Mm,
you understand that? He gave him all of that. But today, a lot of over masculinity, can I be respectful to say to my brothers and stuff? A lot of times you want to put the horse before the cart and you want to go directly from the flesh. But if you're not secure financially, if you're not secure with your mind state, because God had Adam's mind, he had to get his mind right before
mm,
he could even add a woman to the equation. Do you
Go ahead, Miss
realize?
Price.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
realize, do you realize that before a woman came to play, before a woman even came on this planet, God had even planted the animals before us. God had even planted the job before us. God had even planted the house before us, the streams, the wealth. He did the Tigris and the Euphrates. He put gold here and onyx here before he created the woman. And he did that purposely because he knew that the woman had needs that we want to stay out of order with, and we don't want to acknowledge that really solidify the relationship.
You
mm.
gotta have order. Miss Price
Mhm.
said you got to have order. Without order, you ain't
What
got
was
nothing.
And
what was that, Jay?
nothing's
She
wrong
said
with
you got to
loving a
have
woman.
order.
No,
Nothing's
that was
wrong.
to the point.
It's raw and uncut.
That was to the point.
Raw and uncut. You got to have order. You got to have order.
Absolutely.
Order,
And
Absolutely.
order,
that's
order,
where the
order. We
trauma's
getting
rooted
down, we
from.
getting down, we winding down, winding down, winding down. Miss Price, again, I want to we can't I wish it was we could just do it for 2 more hours, but we have that time, we have that time. It's winding
I
down, Miss
understand.
Price. I want to thank you again
Thank
for
you.
coming on and joining myself and Queen D tonight on To The
Thank
Point,
you.
Raw and Uncut Real Conversations.
Mm.
Again, I want to give a major shout out to Plus TV Network. I'll give a huge shout out to all of our Facebook group members. Y'all really keep me going through the day. Hey, keep going until your story's showing, as I always say, and don't let nobody tell you what you can't do.
Mm. And Miss Dearest Price, I'm sitting here looking at you, and you just have this glow, like this calming aura, this just
Oh, thank
peaceful
you.
face, and I just love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. God bless you both. God bless you both. Don't
Absolutely,
stop what you're doing. Push the
absolutely.
people. As I said, if they don't listen to this one, as I said, we'll just keep hitting them with them jewels that you be posting. Yeah,
Look,
it's a
I'm
little
telling
a
you.
lot of times it ruffles some feathers, I know, but don't stop.
Look, well, we like to ruffle a little bit of feathers. Sometimes you gotta put some heat up under that hoo ha, and then they get to talking. But
That's
you
right.
know what they say? Well, what comes out the mouth is what's in the heart. So speak
That's
on
right.
that.
There
We're
you
gonna
go.
speak on that, let it flow out. But for
That's
the
right.
most part, I love the diversity within the group. And sometimes, every now and again, Jay would post something, or I would post something, and I'd be like, "Ooh, I don't think they like that."
That's right.
But
That's right.
then no, but then there's those other ones that they just dive into, and
That's
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, hey, this is pretty cool. So we get them thirsty Thursdays and those freaky Fridays, and then
That's
wind down
right.
And I said, "Oh Lord, let's see what's going on now.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Let's see
But you
what's
know,
going."
Miss Price, the biggest thing is, what matters the most to me is finding what they want. Whether it's the bad, if we got to go through the bad to get to the good, or fix the bad first, then that's okay. But it's finding what they want. Not what I want, but
Right.
what they want. you know, um, because that's the fire underneath. That's the flame that I need to my fire. Is to know what they want, to know what they need, to know what they want to talk about. And that's the biggest thing. That's the hardest and the biggest obstacle to overcome is just what they need. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
And
when you write that book.
They
oh
want to
no, go
heal.
ahead.
They want to feel good. They want to heal. They don't want to be broke. They don't want to be broken. They don't want to, as I said, most people, it's a universal want. And that universal want, they want peace. They
Mhm.
want joy. They want to come up here and laugh with you, not constantly complaining about who got shot.
That's
Right,
right.
right,
I
right,
like that. I like that. And that's the thing, that everybody's drawn to the laughter. Everybody drawn to the kiki ka, but never reach out to the serious. You catch one or you two, and that's when you start to desire what do they really want. How do we really get something done? So yeah, I like that. That's a good point that you made there. Now that's raw and uncut to the point. I like that. I
right.
like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I see you, Miss Price. Do you see how the time just flies? It just
It
flies. I'm like,
too
what happened?
fast.
What happened? We had like 25 minutes left. What happened to what happened to the time? But that's when it gets real, though. That's absolutely when it gets real. And I enjoy so much sitting here and kind of going back and forth with you guys on these things. And I just encourage you. That's the one thing that we have to do is continuously encourage one to another because there's so much happening, so many, masks that are out there, and there could be someone viewing this specific show that has the courage to kind of push forward. Even just the slightest bit. And that's that thing about growth and progress within self. It's self paced, actually. But when you kind of dig a little bit deeper and see that there is, life on the other side.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of us now are doing and I always tell my dad, we kind of go back and forth. He's like, well, you know what, baby? I just want to live. There's a point of it, living and existing. Existing is just here, breathing, getting by. I want so much more than that. It's a shame. So I want to be able to live and be happy, and tell my truth and let other people do that as well. So if to the point can be the gateway to that, then absolutely. We
Mhm.
try to hit it up twice a week. So we definitely want the people to overcome situations because getting out of it, being trapped into a certain situation, it sounds crazy, but some people are comfortable in their havoc because they know how to maneuver in that place. They know what type of issues that they're dealing with that they face. And
Mhm.
even though they're not getting over it, they're getting through it. So to get out of that space, to find something new, the courage to press forward, that's always the scariest thing because that's uncharted and unfamiliar territory. So we have to make sure that we release a certain energy out into the world because it shoots back like a boomerang. It really does.
Absolutely.
So
I
we
agree.
definitely want to ring some ears and touch some hearts here.
Always be concerned when people jump on the bandwagon. My best messages only reach one or two. My
Mm.
That's right.
most fiery messages, as I said, I didn't expect many people to make comments because I'm hoping to spark their heads. I'm
There
not
you
I'm
go.
not trying I'm not trying to be their friend. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't look,
That's
there's no
right.
icing on this cake.
Look,
It's just straight cake.
look,
You
look,
understand?
look.
It's to the point.
So
Straight cake, straight cream.
that's it. So
Yep.
it's okay. It's okay, but you know what? They do come. They
They
do come because after a while, they let me tell you something. They recognize truth. So I never get discouraged when,
Hmm.
oh, nobody didn't comment to my post, nobody didn't. that that makes me know I'm
Look.
saying the right things.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And sometimes you got that mind just a circling. They have so much or so little to say, but that mind is going. So as long as them brain waves kicking, you didn't hit a circle. You know when people say you're posting them subliminal messages or you're doing this. No, honey, you caught that. It
That's right.
landed right where it was supposed to go. So it
Yeah.
ain't subliminal. You caught that.
Mm,
So they
mm,
don't have to say anything. But
that's right.
you hit a spot. The
That's
the
right.
rock
But they
landed where it was
watching. They
supposed to.
looking. They watching.
Yes,
That's right.
that's
But
right.
y'all, again, Miss Price, again, I'm glad to have you on tonight. You guys, to
Thank
the
you.
point, got a lot of topics we're gonna be touching bases on. Make sure y'all definitely go follow our To The Point group page. You can definitely catch our email down in the bio. Hit us up on there. Tell them what's on your mind. Tell them what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and you will definitely get to it. You can also find our To The Point Facebook business page. Make sure y'all go to there, To The Point Facebook business page. We have just launched a To The Point YouTube channel where we'll be going on there talking a little bit more throughout the week. For those that be waiting on us all week, you may catch us a little earlier. So that's actually To The Point 2K. We are here. So again, I thank you guys again for coming tonight. I thank you guys, Miss Price, for coming in, Miss D, and the final thoughts you got because it's about that time.
There you go. There you go. Love, peace, and blessings to everyone. Let that one fall where it may. So everyone have a great night because I know it's getting late. And be so active on Monday morning. People gonna be wondering what's going on with you. Tell me you got the tea last night on To The Point. Come over here and check it out.
There it is. Miss Price, any last words you may have for our people?
Just the struggle continues.
Love.
And as
That's
I
it.
always say, keep going until your story is showing. You can catch us again next week at the same time in the same place. To the point, raw and uncut, real conversations on Plus TV Network.
All righty.
Peace out.